Hey, Grace. You good? Right. I have a meeting. I'll see you in a minute. Okay? Okay?
Hi.
Hey, Diola. Hi. How are you?
I can't believe I'm earlier than everybody. I thought I was even late.
Nah, I thought I was just going to record it actually. And right, I'll see you in a bit. Okay?
Okay.
Shut the door, please. Put your
Okay.
shoes on, Grace. Yeah, I just thought I was going to record it and I just leave it out of the group. Recording is a lot harder than live, I think. That's what
Oh, okay.
that's what I came
Okay.
to
Okay.
understand because when it comes to recording, you've got a plan, all right?
Okay.
And you've got to design the content, etc. I didn't design much content or anything, but I had in
Okay.
mind what I was going to talk about. I think the recording is on anyway, but I think what I was going to talk about was initially the fact that we, despite, what I was going to talk about was the fact that I think we are signaling the end of what I think was going to be rate hikes. I'm not calling for a bull yet because I think there is, we got inflation. It takes forever. So it takes years to come down, which is something I said. But anyway, let me just talk about what I wanted to talk about. And please, if you've got questions along the way, honestly, feel free to ask me. All right.
Okay.
Let me share my screen also. So we can. Okay, so good evening. So have you been actively trading, Diola, or you are not?
Okay, so last week I traded last week because I discovered that it seems I do better if I have the time to sit and, really like analyze my setups before going in and being able to monitor anything that is short term. So
Yeah.
I had an injury 2 weeks ago, so I was forced to be at home last week.
Oh,
So all of
okay.
that time, I had the time to like. I think so far is my best. It's been my best week because I
Yeah.
had the time to go in, monitor, be sure, and then get out when I needed to. Unlike some other times, I'll take trades, and because I wasn't paying attention,
Mm.
something would just go wrong, and not being in the best frame of mind, I'll just quickly cut off the loss. I know when you're doing leverage, it's not the same thing as trading stocks generally, where you can follow this rule. They say 1% in, cut it at 5% loss or 10%. Once you're on leverage, even if it's 20x, there is nothing like 5%, 8% anymore.
Of
So
course. Of course.
yeah, so I try not to overtrade. I just picked the ones that I could see, but the returns it was worth it. What do I put
Mm.
now? Whatever. So it was okay. It was okay. This week, um, I told myself no more natural gas, but for some reason I saw it going lower. So I thought, oh, let me just come in. But when I came in, I think because there's all the short-term bounces.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. And because of what had happened where I'd lost money earlier,
Mm.
I didn't have the nerve to, hold my ground and tell myself that, yeah, this thing is still going to go down a little more. So I left it.
Yeah.
And then I left it at a loss actually, but this time around I didn't let the loss take long. But at the end of the day, I saw that it's gone lower than what I saw it as. But I
Yeah.
think I should just leave natural gas.
So what you
I'm going to
should
wait for it much lower.
what you should learn to do is okay, please, and feel free to share, let me know, just seek my opinion as well. At the end of the day,
Okay.
it's opinion. I wouldn't think I know better. I've been doing it longer, doesn't mean I know better. Um, let's start from natural gas. What did we say? Natural gas. I said something in the group. I don't know if you read it. I know many of you now just focus on WhatsApp. You kind of abandon Telegram. I don't want it to defeat that purpose. So I put something in the group on Telegram 2 days ago. Someone asked me about natural gas. And what I said was that natural gas is weather dependent. And that's just what it is. Okay. Yes, we had, well, not we, but the US, America, the UK had the odd storm here and there, but generally The deal is what? The deal is the weather has been mild. Okay. So
Yeah.
therefore, you would expect natural gas to just keep coming down. All
Mm-hmm.
right. And that's just the
Mm-hmm.
way
That's what's happening.
it is what it is. But then I mentioned also, and I think I've mentioned in the group before, that there's a project which is oh, this was the last thing I did. You know, as you can see, it actually dipped, went up, but I think it just tailed off just right here at the support. Can you see that? Or the
Yeah.
resistance rather. So what did I say it was the deal was again? So there's a project which is called let me just find it quickly, and I put the website there as well. I might just check it here too. The project is the Freeport LNG. Have I mentioned it to you before?
You mentioned it once.
I think I've mentioned it,
I
yeah,
think you mentioned it in February
in February, yeah.
something.
So
I think you shared
the link, yes,
a
this is
link, yeah.
yes. So there's the Freeport LNG, and it's just some mega project. This is where they're just gonna have to collect some natural gas. But at the same time, right now they haven't started. So this is like the nearest bullish signal. Until then, I think there's a rumor that April they will start, they will signal. I think there was a time they actually tested it, and natural gas kind of got a jump temporarily, but then it was just temporarily. Okay. But what
Yeah.
do you think institutions are doing right now? You buy in the winter or in the summer, or you rest
In the
in the
summer.
winter, you spend in the
Yes.
winter.
Yes.
1 minute, please. If I made this in school, let me show people what if I made.
She did a
You won't
great
tell the
job.
people. There you go. She did a great job. Right, Grace, let me finish, please.
Mhm.
They're on the phone. Let me finish, Grace, okay? Please, you come back later. Right, so as I was saying, yeah, please, I'm coming. Thank you. The Freeport. Okay, I'll leave it behind me. Can they see the penguin? There you go. Can you see the penguin right behind me?
Mhm.
Amazing. Thank you, Grace. Shut the door. Thank you. There you go. That's my penguin. The light here is a bit is gone off. Well, I turned off the light rather. So maybe the penguin would have been shining brighter. But there you go. Okay, so the Freeport LNG is the nearest thing you get to the nearest catalyst right now for natural gas. Until then, am I sharing my screen by the way? I think I am. So until
Yes,
then, you
yes.
just have to wait. But one more thing you got to look at, of course, when in doubt, zoom out. So what do I mean by that? I mean, look at me here with a line here. So I'm looking at where there's a cluster because there's no form of support here. So if it comes down to this point, I'm not going to be surprised at all. So you just need to have patience. But like I said again, what do you think these guys are doing? You gather in the summer and then you spend in the winter. You don't buy natural gas when all of a sudden we start having natural storm
Yeah.
rather. So, but then what do we have? You know, the experience and adaptation is all what we are trying to do. I forgot the term I was trying to use. So therefore, we don't just think, oh, this is what I think. This is just me thinking. What if it doesn't come here and it starts bouncing? Doesn't mean it will come here necessarily. So you just buy in bits. You buy in bits. You buy in bits. And in this case, you probably just want to leave what's called leverage alone and just do the normal
Okay.
spots. If you look at Boyle, for example, Boyle is literally clawing all-time low. So you expect this, and this is on a weekly. Okay, we don't expect it to go right there. And remember, I did mention something. If you want to eat from natural gas, you don't want to be buying from the. You don't want to be buying the leveraged assets. You want to be buying the real asset because the leverage is not the real asset. This is the real asset. Okay, that gets pricing every now and then. I don't want to go into details, but does that make sense? So this is where you
It
want to be. If
does.
you
It does.
really want to make it, this is the real asset. That one is just traders. They rebalance it, and that's why you might think, oh, it's been coming all time down, but it's not exactly the same as Boyle right here. Okay, so if you think it's going to come in here, you're in for a rude awakening. It's not necessarily going to come in here at all. Okay, Price yesterday is not the same price today. So does that make sense with natural gas?
Yeah, it does actually, and I think I like the showing the boil chart. I actually have boil on my watch list, but I don't trade it. I've never traded it actually. So
Yeah,
I stayed
it's
with nat gas
so
on
boil is one you
capital.com.
buy and you just
But I'm
hold.
thinking now, yes, because my thinking is going to go lower in summer. So why would I buy now? Why don't
How
I
do you
just wait
know?
till May, June?
How do you
Oh,
know?
I think it's more like the chances of it going lower is way higher than it, going high now. I'm not talking about not later, I'm talking about now.
I
But
think
going into the
not.
summer,
I
mm-hmm,
think not. Because you got to think
why?
about two scenarios now.
Mm-hmm.
Which is closer to winter, now or summer? That's good. You got to think of the time horizon as well. Okay. You might think it's going to go lower in the summer, but guys are probably doing their buy now because 6 months. Think about a flight. You want to go wherever you want to go, right? You
Mm-hmm.
buy the ticket now, 12 months at a time, or you're going to buy 6 months at a time, where you know that 100% this is a busy time, like it or not.
Unless
I've
you're
never seen a
saying that
December where we don't have winter. It might be
there
mild,
are
but it's
thousands of us thinking the same way, right? That we're all going to wait till May, June, and then by then it's already higher, right?
absolutely. So that's one thing you've got to think about also. So, everyone is waiting to June thinking that, but you got to think common sense. That's number one, but that's on a macro level. But on a chartist level, think of buy at support, yeah, sell at resistance. Or you know what? I don't fully understand this chart. It's kind of broken all my support zone. I would rather be buying it in bits, in chunk, in
Yeah,
bits, in
yeah,
bits, and that's it.
sure.
Okay. And there's
Yeah.
no reason why it cannot go lower. Okay. I wanted to show something here. You were with me in 2020. If you remember what happened here, oil actually went negative for the first time. So you can imagine, if you buy the fear, these guys would, I mean, I'm not going to say they
Can
would
you
never lose money,
imagine?
but they've never ever lost any money. Can you see that? They've
Never.
never lost any money.
You can't buy it at $1 or $2 and you're still
No,
good
they
till
got the
now.
negative. So this guy is just enjoying, oh, it's up, it's down. They might think, okay, I didn't sell at the peak, but hey, it's fine, except things gonna come
Okay.
negative again. But listen, Russia threw the bombs and everything, it sent it all spiking. And no matter what,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's never gonna happen, never say never in this kind of market, okay? And that's what
Mhm.
happened here. Are we clear?
Yeah.
Amazing. So another thing I wanted to mention is when I was looking at the charts. And I was thinking, I realized what, just towards the end, I was thinking, normally when oil is cheap, that shows the economy is booming. So there was something I read about the US, trying to get wanting oil at $78. So that
Mhm.
doesn't make it my buy points. Okay. Never really had a buy points. I'm not much of an oil trader. I think I've mentioned it several times, but
Yes.
this is oil. Okay, it kind of broke this and then came down. I can't remember what analysis I did here, but as you can see, it broke this support, and I'm expecting oil to rather come back to this level. And this is me watching on the 2 day. So
Exactly.
I'm
I
expect
had an alert set for it for 62, 63. So that was what I was waiting for. So when it bounced today, I was like, oh, sorry, not today. Even when it was at
when
64,
around there, yeah.
yesterday or 2 days ago, I was like, no, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting.
So what you've
Now
got
it's at
to do is
70.
to trust your analysis and remember what happens, and then you look, you can see. But what did it do after that? It's sorry, I can't. Okay, I can't do that, but you can see it kind of peaks here, then peaks here. So now this might just be the little V. Okay, it does not mean, but because I can see something here, I can see it bounce back all the way here because this is like your
Mhm,
demand and supply, really. So
mhm,
I will see what it would happen, around this. This is actually a flat zone, no matter what you think about it, really. It is
mm,
actually flat as well. I mean, some people say you're just
mm,
drawing lines, but all these things are not random. Unfortunately, they're not
mm.
random. So there's a bit of a cluster right there, right there, right there, and we just see what it will do around that point. But one thing you've got to learn to do is stick to your what's it called, stick to your calls, stick to your strategy. If you think that's where it will be, that's probably where it will be. And if you miss it out, you know what, we're talking about over
It's
3,000
okay.
other state or other stocks or instruments rather to trade. So I wouldn't worry too much at all about it. Happy?
Thank you.
But again, so
Thank
speaking
you.
of, let's just look at oil on a longer time frame. When the economy is booming, oil is cheap. So at some point, me looking at this, remember, these things tell a story. Look,
Mhm.
all of a sudden now, and surprise, surprise, it came out today. Oh yeah, they are. Sorry, let me just clear all these things. We had it there, a bit up, and then we had it right there. I mean, this lines is just me drawing anything. I'm only sketching, just in case anyone's listening. I'm only sketching
Mhm.
the trend. I'm not looking at top or bottom, but this is the trend down, trended up a bit, and then it's trended back down. So, this is something telling you, and all of a sudden, what happened today? Surprise, surprise, the Fed. Oh yeah, we might consider, pausing on the rate hikes. That's just what they
Mhm.
said. Okay. Yeah, you might consider pausing the rates in the days leading up to FOMC. He did say that. So one thing or two things I wanted to mention today is that for me personally, we have seen inflation. I made a note here that the 6% increase in the index for all items from February 2022 February to 2023 was down from a 6.4% increase for the 12 months ending in January. Consumer prices for all items less food and energy rose 5.5% from February 2022 to February 2023. Now,
Mhm.
consumer food prices increased 9.5% from February 2022 to February 2023. And again, it was down from 10.1 in January and 10.9% in December 2022. Prices for food at home rose 10.2% over the last 12 months, down from 11.3% in January, and prices from food away from home rose 8.4% from February 2022 to February 2023. Overall, what does that tell me? I'm not going to read it very fast. It just tells me based off CPI data, inflation is coming down. And if you actually have to Google the CPI, year on year, inflation is coming down. So that's something. Again, another one is if you look at this thing, remember we trading. Sorry, guys, if I'm speaking too fast. We are trading with the institutions. We're not trading against them. Otherwise, you've got to be with the money, guys. Okay. It's like a shark and remora relationship. And look at the dollars. Okay. This is the dollar right here. I mean, since we had the peak, at 114. I did say to somebody. I said no, not to somebody. I said it in the group yesterday. I think we've seen the worst now, and as far as I'm concerned, we've seen the worst. I'm not saying it's not going to get high, but if it's going to go past this again, then there's going to be another trouble. So I think we've seen the worst, and now it's just this is the dollar gradually crashing and coming down. So that's another factor there. And when this is coming down, this is good for equities. Okay. Yes, we've got to increase the rates, but at the same time, when banks are failing, and we're talking major mega banks. I mean, people are saying, is
Mhm.
this our 2028, as 2018? Is it our 2008? But when major
Mhm.
banks are failing, then what does that tell us? These guys are not just going to keep watching banks fail because that might just, you talking about collapsing the entire global economy. So
Mhm.
with banks failing, I think Credit Suisse started last year with 70 billion, only to be bought for 3 billion, such a fraction. Okay, very cheap by
Mhm.
UBS. Okay, things failing, the Fed's got to think, okay, we might just have to pause for a while and see. Because yes, we know these things will take time. Okay, and if you also look at the SPY, I mean, this is some of the things I said I was going to talk about. If you look at the SPY, again, this is some of the things I said, it did actually go down as ice, based off my in I was going to say predict, I wouldn't call it prediction, but just my analysis. We have been battling this level right now from, I don't know what this is, 2020, but the last time we touched this point was what, 2022 June. At this point, we were all in trouble. We knew that right here. Okay, up, down. So you can see the SPY doesn't want to go any lower at all. The S&P 500, doesn't matter what you call it. It doesn't want to go lower. Okay, and that's telling you that what. So this market generally does not want to go lower. It does not want to go lower. There's one I wanted to mention. I can't remember now. Anyway, it doesn't want to go lower. I've just shown you oil kind of crashing. This doesn't want to go lower. There was a gentle scare a few days ago. Gold, what happened? Gold ramped and rallied 2000 and whatever it was. That was 2020. And it rallied to 2000 just about a day, 2 days ago. Why is that? Because again, there's the fear. When there's a fear, people go run for flights. Okay, people ran to gold, and as you can see, gold. But the minute this showed me here, there's fear. Okay, but the minute gold start crashing all over again, and I expect this thing to correct a little bit. But
Mm.
over time again, just like we said, look, gold. I don't know what that is. That's okay. That's 2020. I'm gonna move it a bit. But look, since when we've been in trouble last year, it's not gone below this point. But gold is still showing a fright point. But look, it didn't go beyond that 2020 fear. So yeah, forget what the media says. It might be 20. They might call this our 2020, our 2008 again. But hey, no matter what's happening, I wish I can find gold on the bigger charts. Let's see here if I can find it. There you go. Okay, they call it our 2008 moments, but gold ran up. But hey, it's not just, it's just looking at that point as a resistance, and it's not just leaving that spot. Okay, but the minute gold, so when this is just mainly because of banks, and we know gold and banks, they don't get on very well. They are, they opposite each other. Okay,
Mm.
and so of course, once gold starts crashing, you would expect money flowing out of gold into equities, and that's what BTC did as well. This exact same thing, run for flight, and of course, gold. I mean, Bitcoins literally started pumping all over again. Okay, started pumping. Of course, had to correct it a little bit, but it started pumping. So everyone's running for flight. So I learned a few things over this past few days. One thing I learned is I can clearly say Bitcoin is definitely not, well, and a few months as well, or a couple of years, Bitcoin is definitely not one for, what's it called? It's not one for our, it's not an inflation hedge, that we can clearly say. But past few
Mm.
days, we had a bank run. But what did Bitcoin tell us? Boom, look at that. You see that? I mean,
Mm.
that's March up to right here. And Bitcoin has made some silly, 30 stupid. I mean, it's not exactly this day it started, but let's just push it over to the part a week or two. But I know he's had about 30% run all of a sudden. So
Mhm.
yeah, people think, okay, it's an alternative to the bank, hence why people pile in money. Bitcoin is not going to give you the mortgage or the loan, or etc., etc. I'm not saying that's what it's meant for, but there's just a
Mhm.
flight. It did anti-correlate with the banks, likewise gold. So that's something I can learn. You can say I can't deduce it from just one point, but that's just something I will say I've learned from this whole thing. So that's that
Mhm.
one there. I've talked about gold. I've talked about oil. Um, something, yeah, I think it's also IWM, which represents your growth stocks. Okay, as you can see them,
Mhm.
this here. Let's just look at it over. Sorry, my screen just froze a bit. Okay, if you look at IWM, which represents your growth stocks, and top 2000, how did it respond to this whole madness? Okay, if you look at IWM as well, oh god, start again. IWM, right? Let's look at it now. Daily IWM, which represents your Russell 2000, top two,
Mm.
from about June, we crashed. But what is the market telling you? Okay, the market is not willing, no matter how you do it, you like it, it's not willing to go below this point any longer. Okay, so as far as I'm
Mhm.
concerned, I believe we have seen the worst. We have seen the worst. So a few pointers are pointed to it. Rates, there's a signal that what, we might just be welcome to pause rates. Number one. Number two, IWM is, it's not going below, in terms of crashing. That's another one. The SPY is just maintaining a certain level, and it's actually repeated almost 3 times now. The other one we need to look at is the VIX as well. What is the VIX saying? Of course, the VIX is actually being VIX, which is anti-correlated with the SPY. But look, it came right back down. VIX is at the lowest now. How low can it go? How much more lower
Mm.
can it go? So, as far as I'm concerned, yes, it kind of rose, but let's just reduce it back to a few days. So the VIX also, it's just things are not, at this point, this is when we had a huge rally and then trying to crash back right back down here. So things are indicating to me that, what, I think we've seen the end. If you're going to get anything now, inflation is coming down, oil's definitely crashing down. The SPY is maintaining the level. What else? We're looking at I
Mhm.
mean, I'm not looking at the yield curve or anything else, but also there's a ton of data you can look at, but also what's the final thing? Rate hikes on the macro level. So things are seeming to be okay. But the biggest elephant in the room for me now is just the whole bank scares, okay? And that's still another mega. If so, personally, and I did say that, we need to stay away from the major banks right now. So I'm not staying away. I'm not staying in major banks. You might think, oh, but Bank of America, oh, this is cheap. This is cheap. But look, this is the bank. There's a major bank in the last few days. From, let's just go here. Let me reduce it so you can see clearly. I like to keep our meetings short since the test we had a few weeks ago. But anyway, if you look right here, done about since what it was at, yeah, just within a few days, just crashed really with about just 2 weeks or so, crashed about 15%. This is a major bank, okay? And look at me here drawing the line here, thinking, you know what, things might just get worse, okay? And we have a few of them also. First Republic Bank, look at that. This is a $1 billion organization, gradually been reduced or heavily been reduced to 2 billion, crashing on tens of percentages daily. So I'm staying away from major banks right now. But I am looking at, a few of the things that we should be buying, which I think I tend to say that I will share. I just need to get my fingers out and probably just get time to do a bit of compilation. I tend to share in, every now and then anyway, but yeah, just put a compilation there on our watch list again to build it up together. So that's what I'm doing, but I'm nibbling, okay? Number one or number two, I don't think it's going to come to zero, but you've got to understand why did I say stay away from major banks? If you look at Barclays here, this is 2008, this bank was rescued, okay? But if you're going to go all time, for example, oh, it's cheap, but look, some of the people who bought the dip, whatever, they never, ever, ever, look, what year is that? 2009. Even this 2013, they never ever got back there. They've been decimated. Okay, and that's the fear. So don't think it's a dip, because your dip could get diluted further and you never ever make it back. Okay, and that's one thing you got to worry about. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
yes, it does.
But that's on the macro level. But on the sales side, on the trading level aspect, again, we're still trading in beats. Just make sure you trade in beats. Don't over leverage, and stick to more. What's it called now? More swing. Why is that? Because we're not having much volatility right now, and I've got to be honest with you. This is probably the the most difficult markets I have seen. I've not been trading as much. Investing, yes. Trading, just about 3-4 years. Just about 4 years actually. I've been trading, which is still a very short time in a trader's life or career. But this probably is the most difficult I have seen. This data coming out, in, out, in, out. I mean, since 2020, how many times have you heard people talking about, oh yeah, let's pay attention to the CPI on a monthly basis? Not many times, but now everyone is paying attention, because it might just, any simple data might just rubbish literally everything. I think there was a Fed executive one time who said, oh yeah, he doesn't, he was hawkish at some point. I don't know, went dovish, and guess what happened? And the market just started going rip roaring rally. I'm thinking just literally off a comment that someone said might happen. So got to be careful right there. Define your limits, set your times, and again, just ignore and block out anything macro, because macro will be temporary. Trade tends to be respected eventually. Wow, sorry, I kind of wrapped, and that's what I wanted to say tonight. Okay. I don't know who else we've got in here. Okay. Who's EA? The person's not talking. You hear EA?
It's Shay for me.
Oh, it's you. Esther. It's Esther. Esther, is that presentation ready now? I know everybody's not here. Do you want to give it to us quickly?
No presentation here.
Not yet. Oh, okay. Maybe next week then. So guys, that's what I wanted to do. And of course, I mean, on the crypto side, I didn't really, so literally everything is not showing signs of ramping up. I'm not going to do any personal analysis right here in public or anything. I don't want to do that. I think I want to stick to the topic. Shay, for me, some of your analysis, I know I haven't done it at all. I think I should get back to you tonight, okay? If I'm not
Okay.
clear about it, I will let you know I'm not clear or not sure. But if you look at literally anything, I mean, I'm just picking anything at random here, guys, not because anyone's watching. You know, we are literally mostly on the floor, but you want to pick what's got a proper use case. And it's not necessarily on the floor, because floor can get fluoride, if I'm going to say, but it's all about
Yes,
what have
so
a proper use case, and that's what we're going to look into. Okay, but I'm going to look into some of the things you mentioned, and yeah. Okay, do we have any question though?
yeah, Bingo, the chart for DXY.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can look at it again.
Got it here.
So this now this is just, I'm talking based on technicals only now.
Sure.
Does this not look like we're in for lower? Like
Oh,
maybe
absolutely,
sub 100?
absolutely. Excuse me. So
Okay.
that's the way I see it. So I'm expecting
Okay.
the chart to come, and you know, there's a cluster right here. So
Yeah.
which means what? Let's just spend some time. I tend to just look at clusters. Okay. So overall, what am I seeing? Let me just, so I can have a bit more data on the right here. It's quite straightforward, really. So again, the first thing I can talk about or point out is, you know, right here. So you can see the dildo is just coming. I mean, I don't want to talk the old head and shoulder, whatever pattern, but right now this is what I can see. Okay, I can see a lower high, but even this came in here, but what did he do? It didn't break it, did it? So that's all I can see. And you can see this, which is still a flat line. So, oh, sorry. Did that make sense first? Because I want to clear it. Now, this is the next. Good. So this next one I'm going to be watching for. Where's my thing again? So I'll be watching for it to break below this point, but I think it will, but you can't say. So one thing I tried doing, I've not really been using indicators anymore, but one thing I've started doing is EMA. Oh, sorry, what am I saying? Where are the indicators? I try, okay. EMA, where is it again? Just the odd EMA, just to get the odd extras, you know. So I want to be late in this kind of market. I don't want to be the first. Does that make sense? I want to be late. So let's just pretend EMA here, because I mean, it's a very crazy market right now. You can scalp it, but it's hard to make money. So what am I doing? You know, what am I using? I'm just using a slow one, 25, 20, and say 50, really. It doesn't have to be 200, and that's it. So right now it's still telling me it's bearish anyway. So if I'm going to go bullish at all, I'm only going to be going bullish when, you know, can you see the crossing right there? So, you know.
Where is that? Okay. That's
that was in the past. So if I
90
was,
something.
yeah, no, I'm not saying now, but you
Oh,
know,
I
right
know.
there. Yeah, exactly. Or right here, this is here, I'm going to be thinking, okay, you know what? This is the time to take my profit or whatever it was, if I'm shorting or going long. Does that make sense? So right now it's clearly going down. I'm not looking candle to candle. I just want a bit of extra data, even though I keep saying I don't want it. Just want a bit of extra data. So like I said again, I would rather swing now than what's it called, than scalp. Okay, because I'm using more data. I know things are changing on the fly, but I'm giving it room to breathe. Okay, so I just introduced EMA and I just left it there like that. So the odd times if I need extra confirmation, but other than that, I just, you know, stick to my.
Okay, thank you.
Stick
I
to
just
my.
wanted to confirm what I
Yeah.
saw.
No.
That's
So
why
stick to my support and
I
resistance right here. Don't worry too much about this thing. Support, resistance, and if it comes, then again, I tend to look at peak to peak. So this is another peak. Don't worry too much about the odd beats out here, okay? Because if you look at this week, you might say, okay, well, I invalidated it with my week. Okay, so don't worry too much about that. just look at it right here. Say, okay, even though it did try to scare, but it didn't beat it. Okay, so this might just be an extra confirmation. But so if somebody wanted to trade the dollar, for example, oh, I missed it here, and there's this point, guess what? It just crashes on. Okay, so at this point we could say, okay, if you're going to look on a very, very minuscule data, so you could say, okay, here, but right here it paused. So now let's see the odd scare right here. Let's see what the odd bounces again right here. Does that make sense? And that's the way I see. But remember, even if it's going to go down, like we always say, it's never going to be in a straight line. Okay, so don't get shaken out of your position. So that's the way I see. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Good.
it does.
Fantastic. It's a 40-minute session we had today. I will put the link in the group again. And so that's our review. I'm not sure if anyone is really trading particularly. I've not really been sharing as much. Like I said, life.
Yeah, I was going to say that why you're not sharing anymore? Why you're
No,
not sharing calls and all that?
yeah, life just
I don't
taking
know.
over. So I've not really been looking on these things as much, but I think it's something I want to
Okay.
get back into now, gradually,
Okay.
just so we can, all take advantage of these things. Yeah. Which is why I keep
Okay.
saying, don't let whatever I do, don't let it be, don't let it deter you. Does that make sense? From Don't let it deter you from, from your will to trade or anything. I know we tend to, look up to me like, oh, BK, you're sharing, but
Leader.
nah, I don't think so. But don't let it deter you. I mean, a few things we have. I mean, the good news is when we share, we get. I mean, look, we said this was. I think this was something I shared about 1963, and it ran up to, I don't know, yesterday, didn't it? To about 40 something. That was a gold one, but I don't think anyone took it. Or some people
No,
tend
I
to go
didn't.
quietly, but that's fine. So as I say, I will share. I need to be sharing a bit more. It's just life taking over right now, and I'm trying to enjoy life a bit more. So, but yeah, I will share. Promise. And if I don't share, just know that I've not really been trading. That's just what it means.
Okay.
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 Cool. But don't get deterred. Believe me, I'm not gonna lie. There is opportunity in what we are doing, and especially now, you've seen the worst now, guys. Beyond the 2008. You have seen the worst, and I'm not going to pretend this is probably my worst bear market. Okay, 2008, I wasn't in the market as a trader. That's actually, I was just investing, buy, leave it, go and sleep. Oh, it will come back. But now I know a lot more. This is my real first bear market, so we could say we probably have fairly similar experience. You've seen the worst, and that's it. So don't let it deter you. Believe me, there is opportunity. It's freedom we are looking for, but let's take these learnings and apply it. Let's not go gung ho or guns blazing and over leverage, over apply anything. Just be careful. And one of the reasons I've not really been trading as much is, and I've not been very serious about it, to be honest, is I'm looking for an alternative to the one we use, capital.com, because I'm just not a fan of someone charging me daily for holding my thing, no matter how small. I just think it's regressive. So that's one of the reasons but I need to put in that work into finding a few, or finding what we can use. And that's why I haven't put the work into to search either. So that's the other thing. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we shall do it.
Okay.
Not to
Thank
worry.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Esther.
B.
Thank you very much. And all right then, you take it easy, everybody, and catch you in the group.